know, I don't want to offend any of the ladies that are here this afternoon, but I want to tell you something anyway. My wife is the most beautiful woman in the whole world. And even though she's not here today, she is praying for you and thinking about all of us. And you know, I'm an evangelist. I travel around the world. Right now I'm on a 7-week trip. And how many of you know that it requires a special woman to be married to a guy like me? But I believe that the Lord gave me the perfect woman for the calling that He put on my life. Not only is she beautiful and sweet, but she shares the calling and she shares the desire for what we do. And it's very close to her. And you know, I've had people say to me, how did you do this? How did you find a wife that was absolutely perfect for you? And my answer to that is pretty simple. The way I found her was this. I actually wasn't looking for a wife at all. I was in Bible college. And the reason I was there is because I was pursuing the will of God for my life. I was seeking His kingdom. I was seeking His glory. And as I was moving toward His kingdom, I ran across a treasure. The Lord provided a wife for me. And I think that this is how it so often works. That as we're moving towards God's kingdom, as we're seeking His kingdom, He provides everything else that we need. Even the emotional needs, the physical needs, the financial needs, everything is taken care of in that place where we prioritize the kingdom of God. Now, I think that at this point, a word of caution and clarification is needed, because there are some people that have viewed Matthew chapter 6:33 in such a way that all they see is the last word of that verse. When Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of God and all these things will be added unto you, all they see is the word you. They think it's all about them. They think it's about their happiness. They think it's about their needs. They think that God's kingdom, the pursuit of God's kingdom, is a way to get rich, a way to become healthy, wealthy, and wise. And the truth is that although there are wonderful fringe benefits to serving the Lord, if those benefits become our main ambition, then we have missed the point completely. God isn't looking for spiritual gold diggers who use Him and His kingdom as a way to get rich and powerful and healthy and wise. God is looking for people who are so fixed on Him that none of those things are even in focus on the peripheral. And it's to those people with consecrated hearts that He says, don't worry, I'll take care of everything else that you need. So yes, seeking God's kingdom first will give us purpose in life. But we don't seek God's kingdom so that we can become self-actualized. Yes, it's true that as we seek God's kingdom, our material and financial needs will be met. But we don't seek God's kingdom so that we can become rich. It's true that as we seek God's kingdom, we will literally have eternal rewards. But even then, we don't seek God's kingdom primarily for its rewards. We seek God's kingdom primarily because we love the King. And it is this love that sets the pursuit of God's kingdom apart from every other ambition. When a person is truly committed to the kingdom of God, when they are consumed with love for Christ, then that is when we have things in the right order. If we're consumed or driven by a philosophy or an ideology or the desire to see a new order established or even just to make the world a better place, then our ambition falls into the same category as communism and Marxism and socialism and every other ism. But what sets God's kingdom apart is that it stems from a fountain deeper than any other motive in this world. That is divine supernatural love for the King. And it's this love that is the foundation and the driving force behind the kingdom of God that will endure long after every other kingdom has crumbled to dust.
God will not allow anyone to thwart Him and His plans. No. He puts people out of the way and puts people in the way. But those who are willing to go that way. I felt God could overnight raise anyone else to to do that job, but I was so keen to go with him and see nations shaken for Jesus. Before we had the big tent, which sat 34,000 people, we had one that was sitting about 10,000 people. It was the so-called 10,000 seater. And we moved around South Africa, Southern Africa at that time. And so I came to the Transkei, and while we were in the midst of our gospel crusade there, I heard that a very famous African evangelist was just about 50 kilometers away. I knew his name, and I was thrilled that he was so close. So the next day I drove all the way to that other tent, and it was not the man there I had expected, not that great African evangelist, but one of his deputies. But we talked, and he said the big man of God in 1972 decided to drop his crusade ministry on a large scale. I listened and listened and listened, and suddenly I remembered it was in 1972 that God gave me the vision of a blood-washed Africa that shook me to the core. In those days I had not even known that great man, but the Lord, unbeknown to me, already put in a replacement. He has replacements, and they are all top choices. They are all top choices. They may be number 2 or number 3, but when God gets hold of a man or a woman, he enables them to fulfill that task. And I humbly submit that that was the case in my own life. The moral of the story is, if I were you, I would not procrastinate, and I would not just postpone it. I would jump, and I would do what God has told me to do. It's in any case the highest calling possible on earth. It's the highest form of human living on earth. That's what it is. And to have the honor to be called by God is more than being the president of the mightiest nation on earth.
Could everyone just please stand with me?